Hi, I'm Mark Vernarelli. Welcome to Inside Harford County, a program where we sit down with our community leaders and discuss the issues important to the citizens of Harford County. We're excited today to bring you a very special treat this month as we go inside for a look at a county park that is really a hidden gem in Harford County. It's Eden Mill Nature Center and Historic Grist Mill up in Pilesville. And joining us to discuss this beautiful park and the many ways it brings people together with nature are the park manager, Aimme Dunn, and County Executive Cassilly. Thank you, sir, as always, for being available for the citizens of Harford County.
Good to be here,
Great
Mark,
to have you
discussing Eden Mill and bring Aimme in to meet folks. This is a real gem for Harford County,
Absolutely.
One of my favorite places.
And Aimme has a fantastic story on how she ended up at Eden Mill. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but this is one person who has gotten into a job that you look like you were just absolutely made for. I can't wait to hear about that. Sir, let's talk about this park. I know you're big on parks and the hidden, there are a lot of hidden gems in Harford County. Parks and Rec is one of your favorite things to talk about. What about Eden Mill?
So it's really a special place. It's got, has a historic grist mill, which was originally founded as with a dam. It's got a nature center, which is part of the outbuildings, the historic grist mill. Trails, beautiful trails, and even a water trail, kayaking, canoeing trail. And it's just 25 minutes, about 25 minutes north of Bel Air, just off Maryland 165 and Fawn Grove Road. And it's open dusk till dawn. And anybody is welcome to come out and have a great personal experience. There's something there for the older folks all the way down to the small children. Great time.
Aimme, great story about people who were determined to make this place preserved and saved. How did it become a county park?
Well, in 1964, the mill closed its doors after 150 years of milling. And in 1965, the county purchased the property. And at that time, the county wasn't quite sure what to do with it. There were ideas of trying to get the mill operating again, to having a mill museum, a tea room, a golf course. So lots of ideas were being thrown around. However, there really just wasn't funding for it at that time. So there was, the old mill sat, by itself, an abandoned building basically, and 58 acres of park property. Luckily, our neighbor across the street, Spike Webb, he lived in the Stansbury Mansion, and he kind of took Eden Mill under his wing. He tried to talk to the county about some ideas. He tried to raise some money, and just, again, there just wasn't any money. So it sat for a while, and the county finally put an ad in the paper, and they said, what should we do with this old park? What should we do with this old mill? And Frank Marsden stepped up, and he had the idea of creating Harford County's first nature center. There was not one before that. So he approached the county executive at that time. He presented his idea. She loved it, but she echoed, again, there's just no funding. But she gave him a green light. So he then put an ad in the paper, and he got some community members together, and they formed Eden Mill Nature Committee, Inc. in 1991. And they're the ones who created the Nature Center. They created the historic Grist Mill Museum. And I heard stories from founding members, some who have passed, about there being inches of bird poop in that old mill. It had sat for 30 years, so of course it's going to be dusty and dirty and full of poop. So they shoveled poop out. They made that mill museum. They created the 5 miles of hiking trails that you see today, and then they established the environmental programming there. So the main program at that time was their Twilight canoe trips. So they were trying to get the public out in the park, try to get the public to experience nature, and then also raise funds for the Nature Center to do what they envisioned. So Eden Mill really is a community nature center.
Exciting. We spent some great time out there recently. We're going to take a look right now at the historic Grist Mill Museum.
Hi, welcome to the Eden Mill Grist Mill Museum. My name is Chassie, and I'm another naturalist here at Eden Mill. Behind me, this building was originally built in 1798 by Elijah Stansbury from the Stansbury family. And this is a grist mill museum, meaning this mill would take in original grain and then grind it into something that we can use to make food. The model itself was created by Alan McWilliams, and he created it to scale with a working water wheel. If you come, you can press this button right here, and the water will flow, pushing the gears on the inside. However, the rest of the model doesn't move. It is still the process in which grain would be filtered and sorted throughout the rest of the mill. Here again are these grindstones. This is the upper stone, and it has these individual grooves as well as the lower stone has individual grooves that would be sharpened by the miller. This stone would balance on this little point right here, and as it would turn, it would grind that grain that's stuck on the inside. There is a saying that came from this practice where the miller would have to continually check and smell as it is rotating on this point so that the friction wouldn't create sparks, and that created the saying, nose to the grindstone. This is the vat assembly and hopper that would set on top of a grindstone, and it would rest on top of it and feed in all the other grain that would be crushed between the two different grindstones. The person who was in charge of standing here making sure that it didn't jam would be a hopper boy. So this also sparked another saying called hop to it, hopper boy, hop to it. And this is the last thing that makes this location very unique. In 1918, this room was converted from a part of the mill into a generator room. Behind me are these generators that would provide power all the way from Eden Mill to Fawn Grove Road, PA. And it would continue to be a power generation until 1929, in which the lines were bought out by the Conowingo Dam. And at that time, we returned back to purely milling and the generator room set unused. So we would mill, but it wouldn't be the same type of milling that we were doing beforehand, where we could do human grade food. Now we would only grind animal grain. So all of these things make Eden Mill very, very unique and an interesting historical spot. So please come out and check our historical preservation and talk to us about all the history that surrounds Eden Mill.
Fantastic. Now, you're going to scare me, I know, Aimme, because you're going to tell me this place is haunted. Is this place haunted, supposedly?
Yes, so there are many reasons people are attracted to Eden Mill. So of course the environmental side, the historical side with the mill, but there is another side to Eden Mill, that is the paranormal activity. So the mill itself is over 200 years old, so of course it's going to have a history. So for the past 20 years or so, we've had different paranormal groups come in and do investigations. Even the Sci-Fi Channel has been there to do an investigation. And there are believed to be 6 known spirits that are in the mill that have identified themselves. So we have a Hunting the Haunted program. We offer it in the spring and in the fall, and it fills up immediately. And the neat thing about this program is the person who runs it, Adam Elliott, he is a researcher, he's a historian, he really investigates the history of the property. So during this program, we get to learn about some traumatic things that have happened on site, over the past 200 years. And then you get to listen to different evidence that has been captured through all these investigations that he has done. And then you actually get to participate in an investigation of the mill. So that's a really fun program to participate in. So there's lots of staff members, volunteers, and honestly sometimes visitors that have stories from visiting the mill. So I'm one of those people. So I've had a few things happen to me. So I've been at Eden Mill for 18 years. So that's, a lot of time I've spent there. And there's a handful of things. I'll share just a few. So I've had a door slam shut in my face. Nobody's there, no wind gust all of a sudden. I've had it where we have a mill model on the first floor of the mill, and it has a tub on the side with a wooden wheel to demonstrate how a water wheel works. And it has a little stopper in the bottom, like a bathtub stopper, and you pull up to drain it out. So I was opening one morning, I come in the mill, I turn the light on, and all of a sudden, whoosh, the water just drains all over the floor like somebody pulled that stopper up. And then really something that I wanted to share, I did have, this was probably 10 years ago, I was jogging up the Nature Center steps to go to my office, and between my right side and the wall of the mill, I heard my name, Aimme, a loud female whisper. Stopped me dead in my tracks. And when something like this happens, it's strange because you kind of know what is happening, but you don't, because it's hard to make sense of it. So I run back down the steps and I talked to my coworker downstairs, Stacy, and I said, Stacy, did you just say my name? Because sometimes they would call me while I was going back upstairs. And she was like, no. So then I run back up the steps, and there was another female in the building, the only other female, Emily. And I said, Emily, did you just say my name? And she said, no, but I heard it too. So she also heard that loud whisper of my name. So from the 6 spirits that are believed to be there, I'll just tell you 2 are believed to be millers. So 2 millers that actually died on site. So one was an accident. He actually got caught in some machinery. And then the second one was actually a murder many years ago on the park property, not in the mill itself. But those two gentlemen are believed to be in the mill. But if you want to find out more, you're going to have to come to the Haunting.
Yeah, what a program.
Yeah.
Wow, now you got me rattled.
Right.
I know, sir, that one of your favorites is the Nature Center.
Yeah.
That's one of your personal favorites.
Yeah,
Talk about that a
so
little bit.
it's a hands-on nature center. It's the kind of thing where you can take your little kids, and nobody's saying don't touch. You can there's live animals, there's stuffed, there's taxidermy stuff, there's pelts. There's just so many things for young kids to pick up and touch and hug. The stuffed animals, nobody's saying get away from that. You can pet the little bear. You can touch the different animals. So it's very kid oriented. It's a great piece for them. If they're not into the haunting, they can just come have some fun. So.
Well, speaking of animals, let's take a look right now at the animal ambassadors at the Eden Mill Nature Center.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Eden Mill Nature Center. My name is Bailey, and I'm one of the recreation specialists here, and we're so excited to welcome you into the center. We have a lot to see here, so feel free to take a look around, take your time. And something super special about Eden Mill is how we encourage you to learn about your environment through interacting. So there are a few ways we do that. First, we have our Nature Center games, including I Spy and animal matching, and you can do this with yourself, with your friends or your family. And if you're bringing little ones along to visit us here, you can also check out our Children's Corner with some nature-themed activities for them to engage them as well. And a new fan favorite that we have here at the center is our Observation Hive, which gives you a look into the inner workings of a beehive, which you normally wouldn't be able to see out in the wild. We also have plenty of taxidermy for you to check out of local wildlife. And you're actually free to pet the wildlife taxidermy as you wish. And here we have Cornelius, who is one of our resident animal ambassadors. And we use our animal ambassadors in our environmental education programming to help our visitors learn more about the local wildlife. This is Cornelius, and he is one of our resident animal ambassadors. And he's a very curious little guy. He is an albino corn snake, and he's about 7 years old. And we have had him his whole life. Corn snakes typically live about 20 years, so we still will have him for a good while. And if you notice his coloration, he's a little lighter than he normally would be, so that to us indicates that he is going into shed. So during that time, he's going to need more humidity in his enclosure. He loves to burrow into his substrate in his habitat and hide and stay cool. But snakes also like to bask, so we do include lighting and a little basking area for the snakes in his enclosure. In the wild, they typically eat mice. Sometimes they'll eat little frogs, things that they can fit in their mouths. But if something is a little bigger, snakes have this superpower where they can actually unhinge their jaw to fit their food into their mouth, and they are constrictors. So they don't swallow, they constrict their body to push their food down to digest it, which is pretty sweet. And another superpower, if you notice his tongue flicking out, that's actually him smelling me. He's checking out his environment through smell, which is very unique to snakes. This is Cecil. He is one of our resident box turtles. Box turtles are terrestrial. They like to stay on land, but they also like to have the option to go into water, cool down. And box turtles are really unique because their namesake comes from their special ability to lock themselves into their shells like a box. So if we look under him right here, you can see his hinge. And you can think of that like a door hinge. So he closes up into his shell, and that's a super special power to help protect him from predators out in the wild. He also has red eyes, and that is a way that you can tell the sex of a turtle. So because he has red eyes, we know that Cecil is a male, and female box turtles typically have brown eyes. Cecil is a super friendly little guy. He loves to have visitors here in the Nature Center. So when you stop by, be sure to give him a wave and he will wave back. You can actually sign up for a program to meet Cornelius yourself and any of his animal ambassador friends. So if you want to check us out, Come down, sign up for a program, and we'll see you soon.
Cecil and Cornelius, I'm loving this, Aimme, but you know, you have not only the animals and the fantastic preserved grist mill, you have all kinds of programs too. Talk a little briefly, if you can, about some of the other programs that you have.
Sure. So between the nonprofit Eden Mill Nature Committee, Inc. and Harford County Parks and Recreation, we have a wide range of programs. We have summer camps that we're really proud of. So this year we had 7 weeks. They actually sold out within a few hours. We were really tickled about that, and also we wish that we could do more. We have homeschool programs, preschool programs, canoeing programs. There's really something for everyone, and like Bailey had mentioned, we have live animal programs as well. Something that's really popular is our family feed program, where a family can sign up and they get to come and feed the animals with us. So it's like a private little program for them. So that's been really popular. But there's something for everybody at Eden Mill.
There sure is. I know you love the hiking. You mentioned the hiking trails. You go out there, you've probably the most peace you ever get in your job is to go to a place like that, right?
It's very nice. The other thing that we haven't mentioned, the fall festival, which is a great time coming up, and that's the kids' favorite is the trebuchets, to pumpkin chunking trebuchets, and watching pumpkins go. What are they going, over 100 meters or something? I think.
Yeah, they go pretty far.
They hit targets, and you pay a little bit, and you get to watch your pumpkin go flying across the field. Great, it's a great time.
Absolutely.
Kids of all ages love the fall festival.
There's a lot of hiking, of course, in different places across the county, but Eden Mill is kind of really a hidden gem when it comes to hiking. And of course, there's a very well-known waterway that runs right through it as well. Let's take a look at that.
Welcome to Eden Mills Trailhead, which is the start to our almost 5 miles of hiking trails here in the park. I'm standing below the original sign, Eden Mill Nature Trails, that was established in 1991 by our volunteers who created all of the trails that you'll find here in the park today. Things do look a little bit different, though, than they did back then. For example, behind me used to be a gravel parking lot for a ski slope that you would find here on the hillside. Now, you're not going to find that ski slope today. But what you are going to find are beautiful trails along Deer Creek, through our meadows, through our wooded areas, and even our wetland. Something new that we added this year is a QR code virtual hike. So we have 12 QR codes that are scattered throughout the trails here at Eden Mill. Once you find one, you're going to grab your cell phone, open up the camera app, scan the QR code, and a video is going to pop up. That video is going to be of one of our naturalists telling you some cool information about that spot, whether it's about a plant, animal, or the history of the area. So come on out and check out the trails.
Fabulous. I know you mentioned, Aimme, that volunteers really are the heart and soul of the place from its founding. You still need volunteers, right? Could you still use volunteers?
Oh, absolutely. So as I was mentioning, the Nature Center was started by the volunteers, but to go back a little bit even so, when it was a mill, a functioning mill, it really was a place for the community to come. It was a hub for the community. So, farmers would be coming to bring their grain there, and they would bring their families, and everybody would be catching up on what's going on in people's lives while they were waiting their turn of the millstone. Also, that's where the phrase, the rumor mill, comes from, because everyone's catching up on the town gossip. So really, Eden Mill started as a community hub then. Then again, when the volunteers started the Nature Center, and then into today, the community plays an important part and the volunteers play an important part in what we do. So Eden Mill is broken down into teams. So if someone's interested in volunteering or giving back to the community, we have a bluebird team where you can come and help monitor our bluebird boxes in the park. We have a canoe team. So if you're interested in canoeing, you can get trained through the American Canoe Association, and then you can help take the public out on canoe trips. We have a garden team. So the gardeners are really active with the University of Maryland Master Gardeners, and they maintain our vegetable gardens and our pollinator gardens. We have our trail maintenance team, so we have volunteers that come out and maintain those 5 miles of hiking trails that the volunteers started. Volunteers are an integral part of what we do. And also scouts. We get a lot of scout volunteers and groups, corporate groups that want to come out and give back. So that's really amazing too. But the scouts, they want to come out and do their Eagle Scout projects, their Gold Award projects. So they've done things such as creating new kiosks and benches and the QR code hike and an outdoor enclosure for Cecil, a wetlands box. So lots of amazing things that the scouts have given to the park. So we could always use more volunteers, and we really appreciate them.
Ms. Cassilly, you, of course, your family goes back generations in Harford County, but have you learned some new things about Eden Mill that even you didn't know maybe before you took office as county executive?
Look, just getting up there and doing the tours. That it was used as a power generation station was pretty fascinating because it has the dam for the mill dam, so it made sense that that would be used for power generation. But yeah, and look, the folks that work up there, you're going to learn something every time you go. Between the plants, the history of the mill, the plants, just the beauty around it, you'll learn something every time you come. There's plenty to share.
How about the Fall Festival coming right up? Right around the corner.
Yes, so Fall Fest is one of my most favorite days of the year. So Fall Fest is a free community event that we offer the first Saturday in November. So this year it's going to be Saturday, November 2nd from 11 to 3. And as Mr. Cassilly was mentioning, we do pumpkin chunking there. So we were trying to think of something that will make us different. There's lots of great things going on in Harford County, pumpkin patches and hay rides and things like that. But what's something different and unique for us? So that's how we came up with a pumpkin chunking. So we have a big trebuchet that's out in our upper garden area, and people love to come and watch the pumpkins flying through the air. And if you want to donate $5, then you can pick out your own pumpkin, and you actually get to pull the trigger on the trebuchet and watch your pumpkin fly across the field. We have a gourd hunt with our master gardeners, so the public can go in and look for a gourd in the gardens. They can take it home with them. We have environmental and historical exhibitors that'll be there. The mill will be open, Nature Center will be open with our live animals. We have a silent auction that Frank Marsden puts on, so he donates 12 photos of wildlife that he's taken around the area, and then all the money that we raise that day goes back into the Nature Center. We have a corn grinding station, so folks can come out, they can grind up corn by hand and then take it home with them to feed their birds. We have a bubble station. We have a game station, so kids can play games and win prizes. We have a tattoo station. The Susquehanna beekeepers will be there, so they'll be doing honey extraction demonstrations twice that day during Fall Fest. We'll have live music. We'll have food trucks there. So lots of really amazing things going on for Fall Fest. And I do have to say, if you want to come to Fall Fest, I'd recommend that you get there right when it starts. We usually get 1,200 people that come in those 4 hours. So we do have to bus folks in from Winter Farm.
Wow.
They do allow us to use their parking lot. So if you're able to come to Fall Fest this year, you won't be sorry. But make sure you get there at 11 o'clock when it opens.
And we should mention, I'm remiss in not mentioning this earlier, that this is a free place. You do not charge admission. This is a nonprofit, and you don't charge admission ever to come into just on a daily basis, right?
Correct. Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, folks, this lady, Aimme Dunn, is doing exactly what it seems she was intended to do. And I have to ask you, you told me before we went on the air that you really studied for this type of a job, and you ended up in just the perfect situation, didn't you?
Yeah, so I actually started at Eden Mill as a junior volunteer back in 1999, and that really did shape my love and shape my career in school. So I decided I was going to go to school for environmental science at Towson. I have my master's in recreation and park management, and I've been a volunteer at Eden Mill for 25 years, in addition to working for the county for 18 years at Eden Mill. So Eden Mill really is a special, unique place. We love to get volunteers involved, and they really have ownership in that park, and I think I'm a good case for that. I really fell in love with the park, and I learned from so many amazing people, people that really give their all and gave their all, to start Eden Mill and to really get the public involved up there and learning about nature. So yes, I love my job 110%. Yeah.
I think about, Mr. Cassilly, I'm watching these beautiful videos of the grist mill, and I'm thinking about the contrast between a grist mill and the huge warehouses that we have so much controversy about on the eastern side of the county.
Yeah.
People don't realize the importance of grist mills in American history and agriculture.
Oh, it was everything. We have a lot of mills all across the county. Some of them are like Eden Mill, quite old, and some of them more from the 1900s. And of course, some of them still operating, but in various capacities. So yeah, the mill was critical to our economy from the earliest ages.
Absolutely.
Very, very important. Yeah.
Aimme, what's your favorite part of your job? I know that that's a tough question because you're lucky enough and blessed to be able to work in a job where most people are happy. They're happy to be there. They're not complaining. It's a fascinating place to learn, but you must have some favorite part of your job. What would that be?
So honestly, I have to say the favorite part of the job for me is the people. So whether it's my coworkers, whether it's the visitors coming in, the program participants, It truly is the people that make the job for me. Hands down, the people.
The animals are probably one of the more interesting things for the kids.
Yeah.
What do you find that the kids, the funny questions that kids ask, are they just fascinated by the whole experience?
So really, the silliest question that, well, understandably, I guess, that children ask us when they come in the nature center, they say, oh, "Did you kill all these animals?" And our answer is, of course, no,
Of course
we
you
didn't.
did.
Right. Most of them are roadkill. Some of them were donated from hunters, but we didn't go out and purposefully kill these animals. They are used for education, but that is, I understand why a kid would walk in the nature center and think that, but that is probably the silliest question we get is, did we kill all the animals in there?
And you pointed out, sir, that unlike a lot of museums where it's all hands off and stay away, this is a touchy-feely place.
It's a touchy museum, and I have to tell you, you look at what's some of the best part about this museum. It's an amazing staff, and Aimme sets the tone for it. But you go in there, and it's these folks are a joy to be around. I've watched them in the summer programs, working with the youth. I see them with people of all ages, and they thrive on the public interaction. Aimme's correct on that. They enjoy helping and teaching and sharing with the public. So it's a wonderful atmosphere up there.
And how can the public find out more about this wonderful
Sure.
place?
Well, you can ask Aimme, and she'll tell you everything you need to know. but that you can also go on our county website for the Eden Mill. It's edenmill.org, edenmill.org, and you can find out about the programs, all the fun stuff Aimme was talking about. Log on and learn about it.
It's that Fall Festival one more time, the date and time again, Aimme?
Okay, Fall Fest is Saturday, November 2nd from 11 to 3. Again, you want to dress to be outside. We want people outside, everybody outside. I didn't tell you one of the best parts of Fall Fest is actually a leaf pile.
The leaf pile.
The leaf pile.
You left the leaf pile out.
Right?
It's the biggest leaf pile you've seen.
Yes, and children and adults alike. And I can tell you from experience, the leaf pile is a lot of fun.
It is.
So we have a large leaf pile. We hide things in it. Everybody can
Including
find
your
it.
children.
That's
You can
right.
lose your children in leaf pile.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So Fall Fest is a great time. So come on out. Be there by 11 if you want to get into it. So.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed the conversation today, Aimme. Mr. Cassilly,
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to have you as always.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Inside Harford County, airing exclusively on Harford TV. Join us again next month. I'm Mark Vernarelli on behalf of all of our hardworking crew. Thanks again for watching.